Welcome to Middle Seat Movie Reviews. This is the first episode of something I'm trying new. I'm trying to make a video series that is a little bit more structured than my average videos. And this one's about reviewing movies, I mean. And this movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. I just saw Guardians of the Galaxy for the second time, and I'm very pleased with it. I really liked it. I think it might be the best film of 2014. Although, probably the third Hobbit film will be a lot better. But that's kind of a given that it'll be better. I mean, it's the Hobbit. You can't really beat that. So even though it'll be below the Hobbit, it's kind of unfair to compare it against such a large film. So I'll say that it's probably the best film of this year, at least so far. You should go see it. It's wonderful. It's like Galaxy Quest. It has a very good mixture between comedy and seriousness. It's just an all-around good film. And yes, there is an extra snippet of video or a little scene after the credits. Okay, that's the quick review. I hope that if you only had time or interest to have the quick review, there you go. Well, now this is going to be the non-spoiler review, a little bit more in-depth about my thoughts about it. And then later at the second half of the video, I'll be sure to tell you when it happens. But I'll be switching over to tell you more spoilery parts of the movie. Okay, so this is the non-spoiler part. The movie has a very good balance between several different aspects. Like, for instance, there's a good balance between it telling you the backstory of characters and also showing action. It doesn't actually ever stand on just showing the backstory of the characters. It always just kind of... The characters make remarks that fill you in. So it happens in between the action, but it's always like, oh, I just realized that. It kind of helps you paint a picture in your head, or, oh, that makes sense. So it never seems like the story stops to show the backstory of somebody. It's just, you start, as you're watching the film and seeing what's happening now, you also slowly build up information about the characters and start to understand them more and start to care about them more. Another thing that's really good is the mixture between seriousness and comedy. Much like Galaxy Quest, you could tell that the bad guys really were bad. They weren't just like, oh, goofy monsters. Saris, I almost said Sauron from Lord of the Rings, but Saris actually seemed bad in Galaxy Quest. He was a bad guy. He could have killed everybody. But there was also funny moments, really funny moments, just like in Guardians of the Galaxy. The bad guy is really bad. You can tell that. He's really, really freaking evil. But there's also a lot of good and happy and silly moments. Well, yeah, maybe not silly, but funny moments. And so it's just a film that has very good balance. It's very well thought out. Another thing that I said previously before about building the backstory so you care more about the characters, you do end up caring about the characters a lot. And one really rewarding thing about that is that the characters develop at a very nice, almost perfect pace throughout the film. A lot of films have almost no character development, and that's very frustrating because it feels like you just wasted all your time just for the characters to do the exact same thing they did in the last film. Well, in this one, they develop a lot, and they develop through from actual understandable things that happen in the movie. Like, it's not just like, oh, so this character's acting this way now? That's strange. No, it's like you can think, oh, well, he's acting that because he had a revelation at this point, or she went through that at this part of the movie, so she feels better about her comrades or whatever. But it's also not like it's, I think the term is heavy-handed. It doesn't feel like the script is just bulldozing the character development through the storyline. It feels like it's actually happening because the characters really are developing. It's very well written. Another thing that's really awesome is the diverse world. It's called Guardians of the Galaxy, and it feels like you're actually getting to see the galaxy. Because you get to see mining colonies, you get to see the vacuum of space, you get to see I would consider it a pirate ship. You get to see a really sophisticated city planet type thing. It's just really awesome. I really dislike films that don't show you the world they take place in. Now, there are a couple exceptions, like Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window. That kind of only takes place in near his rear window. But that's kind of the whole gimmick of the film, so it works for him, not counting it's Alfred Hitchcock, so he can make pretty much anything work. But a lot of films, I get really upset whenever they don't show you the world. Like Lord of the Rings, it shows you so much. Guardians of the Galaxy, it shows you a lot. You get to see a lot of different places, and it doesn't seem like you're getting stuck in one place and wearing out your welcome. But it also doesn't seem like you're hopping from one scene to the other. It seems like a very well-paced jump between one location to another. And the last point for the non-spoiler review is the scientific believability of the technology. Now, of course, there is a little bit of magic in the world, or I would consider it magic. It's just not necessarily that they call it magic, but it's stuff that I wouldn't constrain it to our laws of physics and chemistry and stuff, because it just wouldn't be fair, because that stuff doesn't exist in our world. But there are stuff like spaceship parts and stuff that I think are very believable. Like, for instance, I don't consider this a spoiler that Star-Lord has rockets on his boots so he can make long jumps. And I think that's a very, very realistic, because he doesn't just like fly up and travel 100,000 miles with his rocket boots. You wouldn't have the fuel for that, and they kind of respect that. He only uses his rocket boots to help him jump higher or move further or move really fast for short spurts. So he has only like a small amount of fuel in his rocket boots, which I think is a very realistic touch, and they do a good job of making it seem realistic. Another thing is there's this one scene whenever they get stuck in the vacuum of outer space. That's kind of a spoiler, but it's not really bad. A lot of movies, they have like the person explodes because they go into the vacuum. No, we've had people get trapped in a vacuum before, and they don't do that. They're not very healthy. They're not very healthy in there, and they go unconscious after a couple seconds, but they don't like explode. And in this movie, I'm glad to say, they actually have a very realistic bodily reaction whenever they go into the vacuum of outer space. Like, for instance, they don't explode. That's the biggest thing you notice. But also, whenever they're in the vacuum of outer space, their eyes turn red because the blood vessels in their eyes break and the blood fills their eyes. That's a very good... It just seems very realistic. I like that a lot. There is one little thing where they'll go from one place and they can breathe, and they'll go from another place and they have to be in a spaceship or a spacesuit, which is like, there's really no barrier there, but I guess you could wrap it up to being their artificial gravity. Gravity is making an artificial atmosphere, and then you can just pass through that. I don't know. But still, that's still kind of believable. Now, this is the point where there are spoilers. Lots of spoilers. Well, not lots of spoilers, but very strong spoilers. If you don't like spoilers, hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. See ya. Now, spoilers. A lot of importance is put on a mixtape, an audio cassette mixtape, and the music on it, because that Star-Lord has. That way, the reason it's so important to him is because it was given to him by his mother before she died, and so that's his way of latching on to his childhood, or remembering his mom. And that's a very good excuse for them to have really wonderful music in the movie, especially 1970s music, which just sounds very nice to the ears. A lot better than modern music. So, one, it's very important. It leads to a couple of funny things where he's dancing or whatever, but also it really spices up the soundtrack. The soundtrack is awesome for the film. Now these two things aren't exactly spoiler material, but I kind of just forgot about them, so I'll say them now. They changed Star-Lord's outfit, especially his mask, from the comic book to the movie, and I have to say the adaptation, the changes they've made, is really good. I really like his metal like gas mask that he has, and I also like his like uniform and weapons and stuff. It looks really cool. I almost want to make I do want to make a cosplay of his outfit. Another thing is that Rocket Raccoon, although they call him Rocket Raccoon in one of the trailers, I think, but in the movie he's actually just called Rocket because he doesn't know what a raccoon is. Raccoons are only on Earth or Terra. Rocket, I've heard, well, at least I've heard from other people that he changed a lot in the film, right? Compared from the comic to the film, to the movie. And in the movie, he's a lot more believable. His backstory is, which I have to say, I haven't read the comics, so I don't know what his backstory is in the comics. But in the movie, he seems, his backstory seems very good, very well written. Another thing, though, and probably the biggest spoiler, is that the one and only Thanos appears. And he doesn't only appear, he has actual screen time of like 3 minutes where he's like talking, where the bad guy is talking to Thanos, and Thanos gives the bad guy an ultimatum, and Thanos like gets super powered and threatens, or the bad guy gets super powered and threatens Thanos and stuff like that. So you get to see people interacting with Thanos a lot, which is pretty cool because he's like a super villain, or he's like a super mega giga villain basically. He's like the biggest villain in the Marvel universe, I think. Now, that's pretty much it for the video, but there's one last thing. Marvel kind of trolls you at the end of the film. You know the little video clip after the credits? They show Howard the Duck. I don't know if they're trying to make another Howard the Duck movie. I've heard the first one was utter shit. It'd be interesting to see. I don't know. But I think but a lot of the reactions is, what? So, don't be too confused whenever you see the ending of the film and see Howard the Duck there. It's a little bit odd. He is a Marvel character, though, so it's not all that odd, but it's like, I never would have expected to see him. Anyway, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you go see Guardians of the Galaxy. It was a really nice film. I went and saw it at the Orpheum Theater in Hillsboro, Illinois. That's like the best theater you can go to. It's like $7 for the regular seats, and I think $9 for like the really comfy couches, and you get like a big popcorn and a big soda. It's not bad for $9. And actually, I talked to them, and if this video series is good enough for me to make more, they would actually allow me to film this at the theater. Not like during the movie, but like I could actually film this middle seat review in the middle seat of the theater. So this might be kind of interesting if you guys enjoy this kind of video. I could definitely expand it quite a bit. Well, hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. See ya!